almost like the Flashpoint, where it starts, one of the key matrix lines that will help shatter this status centralized system.
Jay-Z here with a special Flashpoint Radio edition for this Monday, April 30th, 2012. Thank you for joining me. Remember to subscribe to this video stream above, like this, share this with your friends. And also, as always, the links to all articles can be found below. Do your own research, and you can come to the same conclusions I do, maybe without watching me ramble on over and over and over. We're going to look at one story for the special edition, and we will see how this plays in with our overall theme here on Flashpoint Radio. From the New York Times, yesterday, the Sunday Review: terrorist plots hatched by the FBI. It states, to start off, the United States has been narrowly saved from lethal terrorist plots in recent years, or so it has seemed. A would-be suicide bomber was intercepted on his way to the Capitol. A scheme to bomb synagogues and shoot Stinger missiles at military aircraft was developed by men in Newburgh, New York. And a fanciful idea to fly explosive-laden model planes into the Pentagon and the Capitol was hatched in Massachusetts. But all these dramas were facilitated by the by the FBI, whose undercover agents and informers posed as terrorists, offering a dummy missile, fake C4, disarmed suicide vest, and rudimentary training. Suspects naively played their part until they were arrested. The article goes on to profile some other stories or other events, cases, including the one in Oregon where someone was going to blow up a Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Give me a break. No right-minded terrorist would even think of these ridiculous operations. They clearly come from some half brain-dead brainstorming session over there in Virginia or at Quantico, where they say, what is the dumbest thing we can come up with to scare the public? Well, is it legal? Well, it states this is legal, but is it legitimate? Without the FBI, would the culprits commit violence on their own? Is cultivating potential terrorists the best use of manpower designed to find the real ones? Judging by their official answers, the FBI and the Justice Department are sure of themselves. Too sure, perhaps. Well, because the sting operations usually hold up in court. And, well, if you get some half-retarded, they're usually not even Muslim, half-retarded person, American, to say they want to bomb something, then you push them to bombing something, then you give them something, and you put them away in prison, it gets a headline, terrorists convicted. Well, A, it looks like we're actually under the threat of actual terrorism, and B, it looks like the government is doing their job protecting you. But are they really protecting you if they're the ones that are putting people up to this? And, well, we've got, finally, before we move on, a quote from a judge in one of the cases, the Newburgh, New York case. And she said, quote, only the government could have made a terrorist out of Mr. Cromartie, whose buffoonery is positively Shakespearean in its scope, said Judge Colleen McMahon, sentencing him to 25 years. She branded it a fantasy terror operation, but called his attempt beyond despicable and rejected his claim of entrapment. And finally it said, 14 of the 22 most frightening plans were developed in sting operations. Well, they were developed in sting operations. It says another New York City subway plot needed no help from the government. It might not have needed, but did it have help? Nor did a bombing attempt in Times Square. Was there a government informant involved in that? Or the abortive underwear bomber. Wait a minute, underwear bomber. Wait, Fort Dix. Wait, Newburgh, New York. I've heard all of this before. This sounds eerily familiar to someone else who's been talking about this. Well, let's go to the Wayback Machine real quick and see what we can find. For our episode this evening, we are going to deal with our government's repeated attempts to infiltrate organizations that have issues with the government and provocateur them to lead them towards violent ends from November 11th, 2008. Informant, I offered to lead plot. This revolves around the attackers who claim or who were plotting to attack Fort Dix. The FBI informant was paid to infiltrate a band of suspected terrorists in South Jersey. Said yesterday he offered to organize their attacks on U.S. soldiers, but only because he wanted to build trust and find out more about the group. So he facilitated an escalation of violence and pushed them towards violence. But he said another this time from New York, synagogue bomb suspects, the feds put us up to it. U.S. District Judge Colleen McMahon, who ruled over the 4 synagogue terrorist plotters, she said, quote, I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that there would have been no crime here except the government instigated it, planned it, and brought it to fruition. This is a district judge, a United States district judge, stating that without the government, no crime would have been committed. No plot would have been planned. No violence ever would have come about. This is the plan. They take people who are mad at the government and then they push them to doing something else in order to place fear in the hearts of the public, to bring in more control and more police state, and also to make themselves look like the victim and make themselves look like the hero. We're going to move ahead to the underwear bomber, Umar Farouk Abdulmuttalib. Kurt Haskell, who actually gave testimony in front of the court, said that Patrick Kennedy, a State Department official, said during congressional hearings that Umar was a known terrorist, was being followed, and the U.S. allowed him into the U.S. so it could catch Umar's accomplices. Or maybe they just allowed him into the U.S. to light off an inert explosive device that they knew. How about government, you get out of our way. Let us protest on our own, and if we don't break any laws, don't come after us. Wait till people break laws to prosecute them. That's what we have laws for. We do not need agent provocateurs to get people to do crazy things in this country. They do that on their own. So why don't we stop taking law-abiding citizens and turning them into terrorists? Wow. Did you see that guy? That's a good-looking guy. I don't know, what was that show? Flashpoint Radio? What was that, like 4 days before the New York Times released their story, and he's quoting the same judge, the same cases, except he doesn't put the last paragraph in as a caveat stating that there are actual terrorist threats to the country. He basically states that they're all involved with the government. I'm not one to toot my own horn. I'm not one to give myself praise. But when something like this comes across your computer screen 4 days after you reported on it in your own news segment, it gives you prudence, or it gives you the feeling of success that you're actually doing something right and you're actually barking up the right tree. And well, hey, I'm ahead of the New York Times. So why don't you put down the New York Times, turn off the MSNBC, shut down FoxNews.com, and just turn those talking heads off? Because guess what? I'm not getting any money for this yet. Hopefully one day I will, but they get paid a lot of money to spit propaganda at you. And, 85% truth, 15% propaganda, 85% propaganda, 15% truth. It doesn't matter. If they're lying at all, they're lying. I'm not lying. I'm just reading news to you, giving my opinion, and I think you can clearly know that it's my opinion, and telling you to do your own research, make up your own mind. But, yeah, so there you go. Watch Flashpoint Radio, and you'll be able to tell the New York Times what to put in their Sunday edition. So come back and see me. I'll keep you up to date on all the false flag terror events, all the FBI informant plots, all of the fake al-qaeda threats that they'll throw in your face to try to bring the police state to fruition. But with the information and with spreading the truth, we can stop them. They won't be able to succeed in spreading their fear to the ends of this country. The TSA is on their way out, hopefully, if the American people have anything to say about it. Thank you for watching this special Flashpoint Radio I Made It News Before They Made It News edition. Jay-Z signing off, saying, God bless, keep your eyes to the sky.
Well, if you're looking for trouble, I'm the man.